3D boxing here with Biggie, Rodriguez, super bantamweight prospect. Your last fight was spectacular. Talk about your last fight and how would you rate that performance?
I say I give myself about like 7.5, 8 out of 10 maybe. But it was a tough fight. You know, the guy was pretty big. He came in over. He even came over the 22 limit. You know, I'm an 18 pounder, but you know, I still dug deep and got the job done.
So you moved up between 18 and 22. Is 18 your best weight class? Is that the best weight for you?
Yeah, I feel very comfortable at 18, and I've never actually fought 22, just up to like 20.
But you fought, yeah, the last guy you fought was 22, right? He came in at 22? Yeah.
He was at 23 actually.
23, yeah.
Yeah, but 18 feels my best. I'm most comfortable.
So you've fought all over. You fought at Cowboy Stadium. You fought in the top-ranked bubble. What's it like to be back home fighting in San Antonio, as opposed to fighting in those big cards and in Vegas and stuff? What's it like being back home here?
It feels good. You know, the big cards, they're nice as well, but the energy back home and stuff is just totally different.
You had a couple really big wins, nationally televised on ESPN when boxing was like the only thing on television, right? First round knockout and the second round knockout, I think.
First round, the second round.
And your name really emerged. You know, you really became a prospect to watch. And you had a little setback. You know, what do you have to do to get back to the level where you were, you know, when you were knocking everyone out in the top-ranked bubble?
You know, it's pretty much kind of just like what Hector has said during the press conference. You know, just sit back, reflect, and get your mind right. Because you know, if your mind's not in the right spot, then you can't perform at your best. And I think it was about a year that I was out, a year and a few months, and the whole time I was still training and everything, and just working on my mental state. And whenever I was ready to get back in it, Robert was still there with me, and we got right back on it.
There's no opponent named yet, correct? As of right now, do you have an opponent?
No, I think they did have one, but I don't know what happened to it, and right now I think they're still looking right now.
How big, you know, of a fight is this in your process and getting back to, you know, contender status to get yourself back in the picture at 118? How big of a fight is this for you?
I'm just, whoever they put in front of me, I'm just ready to, you know, get it on and come out with the win, because I'm trying to get back to where I was back then. That's the main goal.
The first time I saw you fight, the first time I interviewed you was on the undercard of Errol Spence and Mikey Garcia. You fought in the undercard of that, right? And you could tell he was different, right? Your punches were different. You know, you had a really high ring IQ for someone who were 18, 19 at that time. The skills are all there. You see the other fighters in your camp becoming world champions. You know in your head, I can get there. Like I have the talent, I have the ability, I can get where Josh is and where Bam is, and I can get to that level.
Yeah, especially just being surrounded by all those guys, especially when I go out to camp out there in Cali with Robert. You know, being surrounded by all those guys, it just makes me one of them. And I train as hard as them. I'm training right alongside them, and the motivation and everything is there for me to grow as a fighter and become, you know, a contender or world champion.
Your name was always mentioned. After Bam, Josh and Bam won a world title, Mario, Josh and Bam won world titles, they said, who's the next fighter from San Antonio? It was always you and Hector as the next guy to win. Is there extra pressure there, or is that just motivation, like that everyone in this city believes in you?
It's just motivation. You know, when you're really in that ring, you're not thinking about too much about what people say or anything. You know, you just focus on the person in front of you. So, if anything, it's just motivation, not too much pressure.
Biggie Rodriguez, tell me where you got that nickname from. You're a 118 pounder. How'd you get the nickname Biggie?
Yeah, Biggie. Well, when I first started boxing back then, I was like 9. I was short and I was chubby, and you know, the guy just said, my very first coach, just like, this guy looks like Biggie, like Biggie small, just because I was short and chubby. You know?
I got you.
Yeah, so it just stuck ever since. Like,
tell me where they can find you on social media.
On Instagram at Biggie Jr. _ on Twitter at OG Rob, and then on Facebook Robert Rodriguez.
God bless you. Thank you.